Hello, this is part 2 of my Mustang project, basically converting this one and all the wiring and all the wiring components to a 2001 GT. I've gone with the coil-on plug instead of the coil pack setup. Basically, I just want to show you what I've got done so far. I've got an introductory video on this project. I went ahead and changed out all the wiring so far. Got all the wiring in place. Still some of it that needs work. Most of it's already been ran. This has all been run here. This is all the new wiring harness off the 2001. This component here for the vapor lines. All this here, all along the bottom of the, the top of the radiator on the top of the condenser has been run. I've got the new fuse block in. That's the fuse block off of the 2001 model, and then all of the wiring that goes with it. Got the new style horns. They're a little different than the 98 originals. Let me show you the inside of the vehicle and what I've got done so far. Okay, so far I've got the column, airbag, steering wheel, the complete assembly. Just unbolted it, bolted it in. Basically all the wiring all in here. Left the foot pedal. All the wiring just extends all the way back. Now when you take out all the old wiring, most of this goes pretty much in the same place. There are some new components, there's some things that you have to add, and there's some things that you might have to delete, but this is basically what I've got done so far. I've got all the seat belts in, which are, instead of the black, they're the charcoal color. We got it all cleaned. I've did a lot of cleaning on this car. There's a lot of dirt, dust, and just a bunch of stuff underneath the carpeting and all through the panels and everything. I've also used the Mach 460 sound system, which came out of the 01. This one was pre-wired for it. Here are the old amps. 1997 was the date those were manufactured. This one here was updated to the newer. It's a different part number. It's a newer system. And let me show you around in the trunk also. Went ahead and did the wiring. Here's a picture of pretty much what it looks like right now. The dash is still out. I won't be putting the dash back in until I swap the HVAC unit. So once I do that, I can put the dash in. But here's more of the wiring. The main harness, the main body harness, just wraps around and it comes underneath the frame. Underneath the seat here. Comes right around there, goes up into the computer area. There's all the plugs for the dash and the door. These are the ones for the door. I'm going to have to actually work on the doors next. That's going to be one of the items. All the wiring from the doors is going to get swapped over to the new wiring. I've already went ahead and installed the computer off the Roush vehicle. Those are the warning labels that say do not tamper with property of Roush, blah blah blah. I did the headliner also. I've already got the new headliner in. This headliner is the charcoal instead of the black. All the panels, basically got the pillars. So all that, the top end of the car is done. I'm still working away here. I've got a lot of stuff to do, and this was a little bit more involved than I thought it was. One of the things that I did notice, and I'm sure others that have noticed this also would agree with me, the area here where the center console sits, this is basically, the body's a little different here. Let me get out of this thing. Getting hot in here. So when I put the center console in, there's going to be a gap here. So I'm thinking about using, or maybe possibly fabricating, a new piece that bolts up the center console. I believe this is the one from the 2001, and this is the 98 style. I believe that's the case. Maybe not. No, I'm sorry. This is the 2001 style, and the body here on this part is maybe about a good 2 inches higher. So the tunnel is different on the 2001. I didn't know that. That's just a little tidbit of information. If you go to the new style center console, you'll have to maybe fabricate a bracket that would lift or lower the center console, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet because the center console is not flexible and it only mounts in the area there. So what I could also possibly do is just build up the padding or build up some insulation there to eliminate the gap, because when you put the center console in, you will have maybe about an inch and a half gap down there. So onto the outside of the car. I've got the gas tanks out on both cars. I'm swapping to this tank here. This is the new style tank with all the vapor lines for the canister. Also going to be swapping the canister, which is this unit here, which on the 98 doesn't particularly have this unit, but it has a different unit that sits up in the front fender, which is not going to be compatible with the wiring that I have. Also, this is the old style return system. I'm going to return list, and what I'm also going to be doing is using the fuel line all the way from the front to back of the vehicle. So I'll be doing all that. Let's see if this trunk's open. Yeah, show you a couple things I did in here. Alright, so I'm swapping out the filler neck also. So I've got that here. That's all ready to go in. I've got a new filler neck grommet on the actual gas tank because those are no good once you remove them. There's a hole there. The new wiring is all in place back here in the trunk area. I've got it all in place, and that just runs along the edge there. What I had to do to get this fuel pump driver module, because the 98 style was completely different, so I had to notch. Let me see if I can. I had to notch this down, one here and one down here, and what it does is basically slides in and then goes down just a little bit, and it basically cradles in there and just bolts up. So I got that in. I had to cut that out. I had to drill a hole here for my ground, and because the material here is not thick enough, and on the new style they actually have a nut welded on the sheet metal, I didn't want to do that, so I scraped it up a little bit so I could get a good ground, and I also put a nut on the back, and this is a good solid ground bolt. It has like kind of a ridged area there so it doesn't come loose, and it's pretty tight, so that's going to work out fine. All the wiring for the trunk, this is all the new wiring here. Still a couple more things to figure out. I had to do some soldering work to these here because there's a different style plug. Let me see if you can see that. I don't know why this. Well, anyways, this is a 4-pin connector. Wow, can't get that to focus. Anyways, this is a 4-pin connector for the third brake light, and on the old style it's a 3, so I had to convert that, and that basically just a little bit of soldering and some shrink tube there to cure the deal, and then I'll go ahead and either put a loom around here and electric tape it, or just electric tape it. Depends on what I feel like doing that day. Anyways, another thing is I got a nice spare tire. This is off my Mach 1 that I'm going to be parting out, and this happens to be the nicer spare tire. It's a 17-inch spare, which is pretty cool because it actually takes up the entire spare tire well here. And it looks really good in there, so I'll be using that. And like I said, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the canister, and it goes over here on the left-hand side of the vehicle. Driver's side, I've already got the plug and the wiring down here, and I had to drill a hole. I'm sorry, I forgot that situation. There was no hole here for this plug, so I had to drill that hole, and basically I had to use a file to make it oval shaped, and drop the I think that's the purge solenoid down there, and basically feeds right into the same loom, so that worked out real well. Everything's coming out real good. If you have any questions that I know I had a couple comments that came up on this project, and one of them asked me to be specific on certain things, but all I can do is show you, and if you have any questions on anything, you can just message me back. Well, that's what I've got done so far. Next thing, like I said, I'm going to be putting the tank in. Probably going to be working on the door panels. I'm sorry, not the door panels, but the door wiring. Got to swap that over to the newer style. And then also from there I'll be going to the rear end. I'm going to be swapping the rear ends. And I've also got a nice SLP loudmouth to put up on this car. So I have these pipes here available. Those are going to be for sale. Alright, I'll show you what I got going on the next video.